Hey, welcome to STS, Shooting the Shit. This is our first podcast episode, and we're coming to you from Eastwood Recording in Florence, Mississippi. I'm your host, Kathy Smithy, and the wizard behind the camera is Kevin Williams.
Hello.
Today, our guest co-host is the talented guitarist from Hairicane, Russ McGuffee.
Hello.
Thanks for being on, Russ. We appreciate you coming out.
Glad to have you, man.
Yeah, thank y'all for having me.
You're welcome.
All righty.
So tell us, Russ, what's going on in your life?
Well, as we talked before, a lot of work for one.
Yes.
A whole lot of work. And then
So tell us what you do as a job for a work.
registered nurse for the state. So, yeah, I'm poor.
I'm a teacher. I'm poor too. So
Right.
poor.
Right. Yeah. Well, so, yeah, that takes up 40 hours.
Right. And then
And then I've got the little tree service I do, which turned into a lot of work.
yes.
And then I got the band. And so
And the band is a lot of work as well. Sometimes more work than
it can be.
yes.
100%. So, but I'm
We
proud.
know it's all glory.
All glory,
I wish.
fame, fortune,
I
and
wish I
glory.
had all the glory and all
Rock
the money.
stardom.
The rock stardom money. Not happening. Yeah.
All the women.
Yeah, it's not happening either.
Right.
All the women and drugs.
Yeah, that's not happening either.
Right.
It sounds like all a bunch of BS.
Man, there's like a line of women out back in the
Just waiting, aren't
Yeah.
they?
in
They're
my
just
parking
waiting.
lot.
The women, the drugs,
That's
the
right.
money, the fame, all of that. So,
The women, is that the one like with the sign on the side of the road down there? That's
Right.
it? Oh, okay. I thought
she will. Yes. Okay.
Besides all the women, what's up?
Yeah.
oh God. Like I said, just work and stuff like that. And that's about it, you know.
So
Just
how long have you been a registered nurse?
registered nurse.
Run.
Yeah, run.
Run away.
Run when I'm coming
Run
after you.
away.
Right.
Since December 97.
Awesome. Oh my goodness.
And I've worked in a bunch of stuff, done, ICU and dialysis. And
That
I
is
see you. You see me. Oh, sorry.
that's so interesting because I don't know how many people knew or know that you are a registered nurse. So I just found that fascinating when I first met you and found out. I was like,
yeah, no,
Really?
it doesn't fit the profile.
it does not
Yeah.
fit the profile at all.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we do have nursing and then we have the tree business that you do on the side. And how lucrative is that? Not lucrative at all.
It's a little personal. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's extremely busy. In fact, as we were sitting here earlier, I think 4 texts come through just in a little bit of time about, hey, when are you going to get to my trees? I'm like, whenever I get time. I'm sorry.
And so then we have the band.
Yes. And all of that is actually scheduled,
Right.
So it actually does keep me really busy for the whole year because, you got the regular job, you got the tree job, and then you got the band stuff. And it's worked out really well because like sometimes when you're actually, you have tree jobs lined up.
Right.
And it rains, you can't get to them. But if you have gigs, you can always get to them.
Right.
And so it has been a steady bit of income working 3 different things, 2 part and 1 full. And so that kind of does help out. It works out pretty good. And, but yeah, I enjoy, the gigs are more of a enjoyable type thing
Yeah,
for me.
it's kind of a relaxing.
And it's gotten that way now.
Yeah.
Now, of course, over the years, it hadn't always been relaxing, but it pretty much is now.
Yeah, once you hit that groove and your band is pretty stable right now.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you can just let loose and have fun out
This
there.
is truly good.
When did Hairicane start?
That's a trick question, right? No,
In the beginning. The very, very beginning. We know it's different members.
Yeah. So it began. The earliest, the earliest email that I have on it, when I think you want to just call it official, was around 2011.
Yeah.
And so that time it was, let's see, I can't remember everybody. Tyler was in it. Gary Albin was in it. Can't remember everybody was in it at that time because we've changed out quite a few people over the time. But the first bunch, moved. Most of them moved off, and that's kind of where you had to find replacements.
Exactly.
And then, as we had, talked previously about, playing in mini bands and stuff like that, then you start trying to recruit members and selling what you're doing. And, they pretty much got to buy into it and be like, hey, I want to be a part of this, to commit the time to it. I'm going to continue to play with this band and that band and this band. And so it's been a little bit of a struggle over the years to get the right people in to make it happen. And, just life happens. People change up jobs and stuff like that, and jobs get in the way. And since that's not what we do, is not really a full-time income for most of us, the regular job is going to always take precedence over the band.
Right.
And so when you have that, you're going to, then there's another member coming in. And so it can be, a revolving door, at certain times, depending on the situation and stuff like that.
But for the last few years, you've been pretty stable since Jeremy's come in, because he was the newest member, Jeremy Stuckey. Yeah. Y'all have been pretty stable. So it's nice, isn't it?
It is. And of course, now Jeremy actually has another band too. And but you can't be like, hey, you can only, but he definitely has put us as a priority, and we've been playing a good bit, and he's been a really good addition.
That's awesome
to us, and so we're proud to have him. He's a very good guy.
I love Jeremy.
He's a youngster too.
Yeah,
I don't know how young he is, but he's very young.
He's the same age as our kids. He's the same age as my kids.
He's probably the same age as my grandkids.
Maybe so. So let's kind of go back a ways and tell us ways. Like, let's go back to 1984.
Okay.
Let's go way back when you were a kid, and tell us how you got into music.
Okay. So, I was in a Taekwondo class at the ATA Fitness Center in Vicksburg, and basically, they had the kids classes and into this and that, and so one of the instructors was named Michael Ezel, and he's still around. Mike's still around the Jackson area, but he would kind of be he was kind of like the guy that all of the little Taekwondo boys wanted to be like, because he actually was a very tough man. That guy, he was doing Jackie Chan stuff before there was a Jackie Chan. He was something else. And so we had a lock-in or a sleepover or whatever you call it at the ATA Fitness Center in Vicksburg. And so basically all we did at that was just, they were playing music. You pillow fight with other kids.
Right. You just hang out and play.
Eat pizza, watch Bruce Lee movies, do forms, spar, whatever, just do kid stuff, And so he would play music as well. And so he put on what I didn't know then was, but it was just a certain sound that I'd never heard before. And it was Smoking in the Boys' Room. It was Motley Crue version. And I'd never heard a distorted guitar before. And so, I was just like blown away by that. I was like, what is that sound I'm hearing? And so I went to the other kids, and they were like, I don't know, they didn't know what it was. But then I went to one of your friends, Tim Thorpe was one of the few guys of the older bunch that would actually talk to us young kids. And I asked him, and he was like, that's Motley Crue. And I was like, well, where do I find that? And he was just like, you just go to Camelot. And he told me what to get and everything. And so I'd been going, like my mom used to go shopping up at the Metro Center.
Right.
Excuse me. And, what kid wants to go in there and watch their parents feel, or their mom feel the clothes all in there. Right. That's all she did, would feel of them. I'm like, I'm wasted. Oh God. Anyway, so I was like, I'm going to go to Camelot and look around. And so I found that Theater of Pain album, but I had to save up money because it was $5. And $5 back then was a lot of money.
It was.
And so I saved up my money. And so I actually, I didn't tell y'all this, but I was spending the night with a buddy of mine, and his name was Kevin Williams.
Oh,
a different
I'm
Kevin.
So sorry.
Yeah. And so I asked my parents, I was like, can I buy that album? And they're like, yeah. I was like, well, I'm spending the night with Kevin. And we went to the Metro Center, and I bought it.
Awesome.
And I was hooked. I was like, because I think the first song, there's like City Boy Blues or something. I don't know, on side A, I think, I don't know. And then anyway, I was just hooked. And so then I went back to the taekwondo class, and Tim approached me. He's like, "Did you get that tape?" Because back then it was tapes.
Right.
It was, and not 8-track, it was cassette. And I was like, "Yeah, I did." And he was like, "Well, if you like that, you'll love Metallica." And so he went, and he told me, he said, "Go get the Whiplash album." And so, Mom was going back up to the Metro Center.
Of course.
And so, I'm, and in there in Camelot, I can remember it like right now, like it was, you go in Camelot and it was always to the left. It was a heavy metal section all the way down. And so I really kind of started exploring, because, all of those tapes and stuff, or albums, whatever. And, because I didn't know what I was looking at.
Right. Y'all remember he was only 10.
Yeah. Well, nobody played. If they did, I never heard it. They didn't play that stuff on the radio. Or if they did, my parents were not listening to it.
That was not the station they listened to.
Yeah. I mean, they were like listening to Bill Monroe, stuff like that.
Yes.
Some of that, old Hank stuff. And so, and what I did see that was pretty cool was I think we had talked at one time about how advertisement was so important. But like from a kid standpoint, when you're looking at something, they're advertising when you're seeing.
Right. So
I'm looking at an album cover and I'm going, that's weird. That's cool. I like that. That's scary. That's, and so that whole wall of heavy metal had all of the weird stuff. And so it kind of sucked me right in because it was a mystery.
Right.
And there was, there's no internet.
No.
You couldn't go look it up and see what this was. And so you just had to go in there and do your own research and then go wherever and get a Hit Parader magazine and start reading about the people that you just saw.
Right.
And so that's, I think, why concerts were so big back then, because it was all a mystery and then you showed up. But so the next thing, back to the Metallica album, I went and they had one of them in Camelot and I got the only one. And as I was telling y'all earlier, I still have it. I just got to find it.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, I still have it. And it was definitely bought in 84. And so it was an album called Whiplash. Had Whiplash all the way across it. And I think it was a demo that they just released. Mm-hmm. But so I have that one. And so I went back to, taekwondo class, and Tim, he was like, "Did you like that?" And I was like, I love it, And so being that I was going to the the Metro Center with Mom pretty frequently, I was like, that's where I went.
The hangout.
Well, if Spencer was, I don't know if Spencer's was around back then.
I'm sure it was.
Well, it was either Camelot or Spencer's or or a place like that.
Right.
Because like I said, I certainly wasn't going to JCPenney's and feeling the clothes. That was ridiculous in my mind.
Way.
Yeah. So anyway, all of my trips to Camelot, I started seeing different album covers and stuff. And so one that got my attention was Iron Maiden Live After Death. Now, again, I didn't hear any of that stuff played, any of it. No Motley Crue.
Right. No
Metallica. There was nothing that I heard played on the radio back then. But that album cover, the Live After Death album cover, was by far the most intriguing to me. And I was like, it's got to be good.
Right.
Because the thing was like the Motley Crue one was like $5. The Metallica one was like $5. This one was like 11 or 12 or something.
And it had to be good.
It had to be good. I was like, it's ugly and it cost a lot. It's got to be good. So I saved up my money and I bought it, and I was hooked on Iron Maiden. And also Iron Maiden was the first band I heard to do guitar harmonies. So that was also a first.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And the fourth, I don't remember, but I was hooked after that.
Doesn't really matter what was next because here we are.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. But that was the first three for sure. And then it just kind of went on from there. And then, so listening to that stuff, it kind of made me want to play guitar.
Right.
And so then that happened somewhere soon afterwards, or the attempt to play, we'll call it.
So you approached your parents and said, "Hey, I've got this new interest."
I don't really.
Of course, at 10, you didn't say that. "Hey, Mom and Dad, I want to play guitar."
Mm-hmm. I don't really remember how it went down. But they saw that I had a really big interest in music, and I probably did say, because the guitar sound was what just sucked me in.
Yeah,
that distorted guitar.
Yes.
And I can say, as a kid, when you hear something you like, you like it, and I knew I liked that, and I was like, I like that sound, and that's why I was asking everybody what it was, and so then there was the pursuit to recreate that, and of course, thinking you're going to play guitar, and then you pick one up and you're like, oh my God, this is work. Try to figure out, right, Kevin? I mean, whenever you started, I'm sure that everybody was like, man, how do I make this? Because I was muting all the strings out. But to go back, they bought me a Yamaha guitar. Let me see, and the amp was a Peavey. It was just a learner.
So a little basic guitar.
Yeah, it was like a throwaway.
Yeah,
it was a nice beater.
How high was the action on it?
Man, I don't remember. I think pretty darn high because I didn't learn how to play that damn thing. I was terrible. I was horrible at it.
That's the most discouraging thing to a new guitar player or a guy wanting to learn to play. And when your action's like a quarter of an inch off the the frets,
I know.
It's like I'll never be able to learn to play.
I know. And just speaking now, when I pick up a new guitar, like if I go to Guitar Center or Mississippi Music and I just pick one up, let's say I like the color of it now. If the action's high, I'm literally putting it right back down.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
I'm like,
absolutely.
Because you.
I'll take a look at the neck. I'll look down the neck and just see,
Well, it's like running through sand or deep mud. It's like
what really speaks to me is though when I pick one up that is set up right, and you pick it up and as soon as you hit the first chord, you're like, oh yeah,
yep,
that's it.
And I've actually bought a few piece of junk guitars that were throwaways for that purpose because I was like, it plays so good. And, if I bust a string on a Floyd Rose, I can just grab this piece of crap and it's going to sound fine. And I don't have to go back and do some kind of crazy stuff to hurry up. Because when you're playing certain venues, you don't really want a lot of lag time. It looks bad. Right. So you want to be able to pick another guitar up, trust that you can retune it quickly, and
better yet, have it tuned ahead of time.
But also like but you know how it is with those Floyds. If you put them in a room and it's going to have maybe the temp's a little odd,
right,
and it's been sitting there, and then you bust a string on another Floyd and it throws your whole sequence out. Then you grab another one real quick. I've learned I can't quite trust them even though I tuned them 3 or 4 hours ago. I don't know. Because it might be out and I'm sitting there messing with the tuning keys and I'm like, man, forget this. I always like one that I can grab up the neck and tune immediately and have it in. Just kind of for an emergency.
I love a Floyd.
Yeah, I do too when they're set up right.
Yeah, and I always have, and I'll probably always play one. And I don't like playing any other tremolo systems that are not a Floyd.
Right.
But I have also learned that I kind of like my Les Pauls and stuff. I like having a Les Paul around.
Right.
You can just,
Yeah, absolutely.
Just tune it and go.
So yeah, so I kind of jumped ahead with all that sort of stuff from the beginning of when I was playing.
Oh no, that's fine.
But when I started, it was just a regular Yamaha, just beater, what I call it, throwaway. And then I made some progress with it, but not a lot. They were putting me in guitar lessons at Mobros, and the guy's name was Jerry. And I wasn't making any progress at all. I couldn't even make a chord when I would, and it was 2 or 3 lessons in. I couldn't even make a chord. Couldn't even hold one string down. And I think the guy was just taking the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so my parents were like, are you liking this? I'm like, absolutely not. I was like, I hate this. I'm not learning anything. And so they were like, well, why don't you try Rob Womack? Because he was in town. And I went on and set up a lesson with him, and lessons back then were like $5. It was cheap.
To save up your money. It's cheap, but it wasn't cheap. In '84, $5 was.
Yeah, I remember $5 was a big deal back then because it took me a while to buy that tape.
Yeah, so.
And it's crazy. I have to correct myself. I almost want to say the CD, but there was no such
thing. There was not yet. Anyway, yeah. It was still a few more years.
Right. It took me a while to build up that $5. And so I went to Rob, and pretty much. All he did was say, all you got to do is just put your finger here and put your finger here, these two, and push.
That's kind of what women usually say. Whoa.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry.
Kevin, you're a perv.
You're right. You know me well.
I do. So anyway, and of course I was like still muting the strings out, and I was like, and he was like, arch that hand, and so eventually, perverts. Anyway, I'm trying to be all serious on this.
I'm going to have to mute my microphone for a minute.
No, please don't. Please don't. We like this. I like it. See, I won't be blamed for being the pervert this time.
That's right.
On Kevin.
No, well, I know you well, so.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm faking it really well right now.
Yeah, you're blaming it all on me.
That's right. That's right. We're sucking you in, Kevin. Don't even go with that one.
Yeah, I'm passing that one by.
So anyway, so I started playing a little bit.
And you actually made the chord.
Eventually. Yeah, eventually. I mean, it was horrible in the beginning. It was really bad. And but as I made progress, the parents saw that I was making progress, and they actually bought me a really nice Ibanez.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I didn't mention this to y'all before, but they were like, you've made progress. We're going to get you a nice, call it rig. And I still have that guitar. And,
that's awesome.
And so went in and Steve Vai had actually signed a couple of guitars, and they had the monkey grip and all that sort of stuff. And they were like, do you want this one or what do you want? And I was like, I kind of do want something like that, but I hate to say it, but I didn't know who he was then.
Right. You were only 10 or 11 years old by this time. So
I was like, somebody signed the guitar. I don't care. I want a new one.
Right.
Because the signed one was the same price as the new one. I was thinking about money even back then. And so they bought me this pink. I wanted the pink one. I was definitely an 80s kid. They got the pink one. It was a inverted body and inverted headstock. And the only bad thing is it only has 22 frets, or otherwise I'd be playing it right now. I like the 24s. But anyway, played on that a while. And I still have that guitar.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I still have that one. But I don't play it, not just because of the 22. I just want to preserve it.
Right.
It's in really good shape. So, and that's kind of how I got my start, with the whole music thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so then you started jamming with friends, or
yes.
Tell us about that.
We tried. Yeah, well, everybody back then wanted to be in a band because it was a cool thing.
And everybody wanted to be the guitar player.
Sort of in some, yeah, maybe so.
I have two brothers. They both wanted to be guitar players.
Right. Well, that's what, yeah, maybe so. That's what you see. I mean, I just like the way the guitar sounded. Mm-hmm. Drums were actually more fun to play. Right. I mean, because you get to hit stuff.
Yeah, I actually started on drums myself.
Well, me too. Somebody, I don't know if we had they just stored them at our place or whatever, but it was a Ludwig set, and it was very old, but it was gold glitter. And so I would go and play on this set, and eventually the people come back and got them. But then when I was playing guitar, a friend of mine, he was like, well, I'll just be a drummer. And so I guess his parents got him a set, and it had TKO on the front of the bass drum. And so he didn't know how to play them, but we were all learning together how to play our instruments and stuff. And they was like, what are we going to call the band? And we were like, well, TKO's already on the drum set. Let's just call it TKO.
TKO Band.
Yeah. So, and anyway, so that was the first one.
Did y'all try and make up a name? I mean, come up with some words for the TKO?
I think it was like Technical Knockout.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
I think so, because I think that's what it stood for. But on the drum set, I have no idea what the company, what the real name was. But
right.
So, yeah, I didn't know if y'all tried to come out with something.
And about how old were y'all?
Well, between 10 and 12.
All right, so 10 and 12.
Yeah, between 10 and 12.
First band, TKO.
Yeah, right. And so that was going on, and there is some footage out there of us playing a talent show, and it is horrid. It is. I hope it's never found.
No,
it was
everyone
to put it across the screen now.
Exactly. Everyone starts to Google now.
I found that on YouTube as we were speaking.
Yeah, I'm going to vomit, by the way.
I'm going to put that up. Yeah. Just a second.
Oh, my God.
I'm kidding.
He's kidding.
No, I know. Yeah, if you would definitely laugh at me if you saw me playing. It was terrible. It was terrible, but it was fun.
It was fun.
We had a blast doing it because we were kids and trying to learn how to do everything.
Right.
And so then afterwards, I guess there was a little bit of a gap before I got with the next group. But when I was 15, and it may have been Rob Womack that hooked me up with these guys, but there was a group out of Clinton, and they were in Woodmore subdivision, and it was called the Satin Rose. That's what it was. It was called the Satin Rose.
That's kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
Satin.
Yeah, I used to call it the Satan Rose, you know.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
The Motley Crue.
Only
Yes.
you, Russ.
Only me, right. You know, so I don't remember the guys. I remember the guy's name was Anthony, the other guitar player. And what I do remember about him is he was extremely good. He wasn't like a shredder, but he was either somewhat classically trained or something, because he was doing that Paganini's Fifth or whatever, even at 15.
Yeah.
The Crossroads thing.
Right.
The Crossroads thing. Yeah. The battle at the, you know what I'm talking about, Kevin?
Yeah, with Steve Vai and whatever dude's
Ralph
name
Macchio.
was. Yes, Ralph Macchio. Yes. Yes.
That whole thing. He could do it. And I was like, my God, that's awesome, you know? And so that didn't last that long. It may have lasted a summer or a little over a summer.
Yeah.
But they were very much partiers and I was not.
Right.
And so I pretty much just kind of let it go. And that was when I was 15, because I was able to drive. We could get our driver's license back at 15 back then. And I literally put the guitar down and did not pick it up till 25.
And you didn't play even just practicing or picking or anything. That is amazing.
No, I didn't.
So 10 years.
Yeah, I put it down. I was like, back then I made more sense than I do now. That's what I mean. Like when I was done with something, I was done with it, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, if that was the way it was going to be, I was like, it's just not for me.
Right.
And so I pretty much just put it down. And then, you know, there was rumblings, you know, around the high school I went to,
right,
about me playing guitar, but nobody else played.
Right.
And so then there was one little guy come along. He was about 5 years younger than me, named Josh Gray. And he was like,
Josh.
You know Josh, right?
Yeah.
And so he was good. He was like really good.
Yeah, I recorded him back in the day.
Okay, that's right. You were telling me about that. What was the name of the band?
The band was N.
N.
The letter N.
That's
Trent Mays, Josh, and
was it Blevins?
No,
Wasn't Blevins?
No.
But I do remember that.
Yeah, the bass player sang. I am going totally blank. He moved to England though, so I think he's like in England now.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I'm blank. Good bass player too.
Yeah, right. And so you know, Josh would come over every now and then and we would play.
Right.
And I would just play what I knew. But the thing was that from the time of me being 15, sorry, I got it. Sorry about that.
What, you got a nut itch?
No, I was sitting on my ball sack.
Well, same difference.
Right, yeah. Had to kind of get off of it.
Readjust.
You know? Right.
That's why I like being in here by myself.
That's right. You can scratch and sniff, can't you?
Y'all can't see me from like chin down.
No.
So.
What are you doing in there? You were oscillating.
You have no idea.
Where were we?
Josh would come over and y'all would jam.
We would just kind of play here and there. And he was, I mean, I was way out of practice. I mean, talking about the Floyd Rose, I mean, I hate it, but I had strings on that I probably hadn't changed in 5 years. I was like, well, here's my guitar. And he's like, it's rusted. And I was like, well, let's play on it anyway, you know? And so he would bring his stuff down. And I mean, he was good. He was really good. I was like, man, I need to step up my game and get back into it, because I did miss it.
Right.
You know, but you just finding the right people to play with. And when you're 15, how do you know anything anyway? And like I said, I was not a partier like that. They were very much partiers and I wasn't.
Right.
And
they taught you well though, didn't
they? Well, yeah, you're correct, Kevin. I finally took up those habits.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, no, you have. So anyway, I'm trying to keep this at least R-rated.
Well, I'm always going to push the limits.
I know you will. Thank you for that. But
mature audiences.
So
rated MA.
MA. Yeah. What does that stand for?
Mature audiences. Only.
Okay, gotcha. So anyway, so he was like, we're going to do a band together, and I was like, all right, when are you ready? He's like, I'm just going to go find one. So I didn't hear from him for a long time, and he calls me up one day and he's like, hey, we're in a band. I'm like, okay, well, when do I audition? And he's like, you don't have to, you're already in. I was like, how's that possible? That's not the way this works. He goes, no, you're in. We're going to go to this guy's house and we're going to play. And
so about how long was that? Because you said you didn't hear from him for a long time.
I'm guessing 6 months.
Okay.
Maybe a little longer.
So you're still around 15 at this time.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. No.
He's past puberty.
He's past puberty.
Well,
okay.
Sort of.
So when did, what's his name again? Josh? All right. When did Josh come in? Is this
so I put the guitar down for 10 years.
Right.
Okay. So 15 and 10.
Gotcha.
Around 25.
Okay.
Okay. And so
I just got lost in the story. I apologize.
Right. And so, and I'm saying 25. I mean, I'm just kind of guessing at about the age range.
Right.
But Josh is roughly 5 years younger than me.
So he's 20, 21.
Yeah. I mean, he was either still in high school or just right out of high school.
Right.
Because I don't have the exact numbers.
Right. And we don't have to get lost in those details. I just got lost for a minute in the timeline.
And it could have been a year or more that went on when he said from the time that he said he was going to get back with me.
Right.
But he did eventually.
So now you're in a band.
Yes. And I'm going up and meeting people I've never met before. And so we go to Terry, Mississippi, and I walk in this house and it's Trent Lewis and Trip Whittington and Chris Thornton. And they had their stuff together. This was not like a band.
And Josh.
Josh. Yeah. And apparently he had either played with them or jammed with them before or something. Or they had sought him out. I don't know. I don't know how he knew him, but the first thing I noticed was Trent doing his double bass, and I was like, "That's awesome." I mean,
I love double bass.
The guys that I'd played with,
most women do. No, I didn't say that out loud.
You are definitely on perv mode tonight.
Well,
these guys.
Yeah. So anyway, we started playing and Trip was the singer, Andy, and he was extremely good singer. He had that rock opera thing going on.
Striper.
Yeah. We were talking about, he could have definitely been in a Striper cover band. He was definitely, he had that high stuff going on.
I could tell a story about Andy.
Well, do it.
But no.
Please do.
No. I mean, it's not bad, but no.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I know Andy.
No, I was super impressed. But like I said, now I had not played with anybody.
Before you go.
Sure.
I'll just say that he shocked me back in the day when, after some time, and I saw him sing with a band called Intruder, which was Shane and Keith Mills, Darren Horn.
Intruder? Is this a vibrator you're talking about?
Who's the perv now?
The Intruder.
That's not a bad idea. The Intruder. We're not making fun of the band name, but
no, not at all.
But anyway, he had joined that band, and he came out, and man, he was just wailing, and I was just like, holy shit!
Wow.
Yeah, and so for back at that time frame, I'm sure when he's talking about it would actually go over really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking late 80s.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so the time gap that I had between 89 when I played in Clinton in Woodmore,
right,
to the 10 years till I was 20. So much had happened in the music scene. I mean, I hadn't gotten out of it all the way, but I still liked what I liked, and so when we went to meet up with Tripp and them, they were like, what do you want to play? And of course I was like 80s music, why not? It's, and
here it is, the turn.
What else is there?
Right at 2000.
Yeah, but again, I wasn't in the music scene.
Right. No, I get that.
It was
totally
not going over at all. And so, I brought a list, and on that list, it was like Faster Pussycat, just anything that I loved, and Motley Crue, of course, and some Metallica, and
some Ozzy.
Some Ozzy. Ozzy was on there, and he actually did agree to do Bark at the Moon, and so that was on our set list. But for the most part, it was stuff like, some early Nickelback, like Leader of Men was on the set list, and Counting Blue Cars by Dishwalla.
That's a cool song.
It is, actually. I do like that song. I still like that song. I I would actually like to add it to the Hairicane set list. It's a good tune.
Yeah, Crow's talked about it too.
Yeah, it's good. And then of course Bark at the Moon was on there, and it was a shocker for me when we actually played it out live, because I was thinking it would be wonderful, and it was not.
Tell us why it was not wonderful.
Well, it was not because of our playing. We actually nailed the song. Just people didn't like it then. And
it was not a crowd favorite.
No.
It's surprising when you think that there are certain songs that will go over.
Right.
Yeah, that did not.
And they don't. And it's just like.
So this was about the year
shocking.
2000, and people were not barking at the moon.
No, they're not barking at the moon.
They did not enjoy that.
They were not barking. They weren't even clapping. It was.
Were they standing there with their arms folded?
They were just,
crossed.
Have you ever seen like a puppy dog look at you when you make a weird sound? His head goes sideways. That's what they were looking at. It's like, what in the hell did you just do?
Right.
And and we were confused too. We were like, we did a wonderful job with that.
Wonderful.
What's wrong with these people?
Right.
And so anyway, and so it was like awkward dead time, and then what do? You go back and try to figure it out, and pretty much what it was, it just wasn't a time.
Right.
It just wasn't the time for that music, and I knew nothing else.
Right.
I thought 80s was it.
Not only the time, but sometimes the venue has something to do with it, because you can play certain songs at some venues, and some are like,
sure.
No.
Okay, so that particular time, the one I'm referring to, that occurred at Buffalo Chips South, and it was on Highway 18, kind of at the Clinton exit there.
Yeah.
18. And I think that's where it was. But anyway, pretty much we opened up for a group. I don't remember the name of the band, but they came on and did stuff like, Brown Eyed Squirrel.
right.
And all of that garbage. And everybody just started dancing, and I was like super insulted. I was like, the crowd just
Mustang Sally.
Oh yeah, and they all went to the dance floor, and I was like, they just wanted us gone,
Right.
They
couldn't dance to Ozzy.
Apparently not.
Apparently
not. So that was kind of the somewhat of the humble beginnings,
right,
of going from playing as a kid, getting into it, and then getting out of it, and then getting back into it with the mentality that what you played 10 years ago is going to work now, and it did not.
Well, it depends on the song, because if you're doing Brown Eyed Squirrel,
yeah, right,
that still
goes over.
It still goes over with certain bands.
And it's horrible.
It is horrible.
Yeah, there's some songs like that. If I hear somebody play, I'm going to the bathroom, or going or going home for that matter.
Exactly.
One of the first times we'd gotten into Silver Star, some of the bartenders at the casinos, you definitely want to make them happy, because they make their tips off of you, and you want to play all the good stuff and that sort of thing. But I can remember one of them turned around. They were like, "If you play if you play Brown Eyed Girl or Mustang Sally, we're gonna definitely not like you." And I was like, "My God, it's on the set list." We had already done succumbed to all the crap to having to play that sort of stuff to sustain the casino gigs,
right? Because the casino ladies love to dance to those.
Yeah, they do. The bartenders not so much. They want to hear real music. I want to
right.
That. But again, when your patrons are dancing, it kind of means a lot.
Right.
And so I remember when we started into those songs, they looked at us and gave us this go to hell look. And I was like, it's just what we got to do, So, yeah. So anyway.
All right. So let's go back to, so after this band with Trent, and then when you met these guys, eventually you had to go into.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact transition. Me and Trent hit it off pretty good, and we remained to be friends. And I think we played in just some rinky-dink groups here and there, just kind of throw-togethers.
Yeah.
And that never really did anything and that sort of thing. And so pretty much from that point, I still had it in my head. I want to go back and experience the 80s because I never got to do it.
Right.
And I forgot how I run across them, but Buddy Fortner had Big Hair Affair. Mm-hmm. And so before I even got into that point, Trent had gotten into doing this original music, and he had No Lesser Beauty, or Jeremy had No Lesser Beauty, and Trent was the drummer for that. And those guys, that's where I met, Jeremy and Tyler and those guys were really good about writing original music.
Right.
They were. Jeremy he can literally come to practice with an entire song written.
Wow.
The whole thing. And he'll say like, what do you think? And we'll listen. And there may be a few parts in there that would need to be redone or
so kind of tweaked, and then collaborates a little,
or twerked, whatever.
Right.
But he was cool about it. He would say, how about change this part and how about do this and how about do that? And so pretty much, and he didn't mind taking the criticism. And so we would change up parts and here and there, and we would come to practice and throw a riff out at him. And he would say, I'm going to take that home. And he'd come back with a whole nother song.
Wow.
Yeah. And Jeremy's a doctor now. I don't know where, I think he works at UMC.
The Doctor Who.
What's that?
What's his last name?
Rainey. Jeremy
Dr.
Rainey.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Dr. Rainey.
Yeah. And so, we all worked really well together doing that. And so, it was fun writing original music. And so pretty much after that, I forget how I filtered into Big Hair Fair. I'm thinking maybe me and Rusty and Trent had a little something going on in Vicksburg, kind of here and there.
Right.
But anyway, somehow I come across Buddy, and Buddy had Big Hair Fair. And I was just like, that seems like that would be just so much fun to do.
Right.
Because he didn't care. He's like full glam, the wig, the this, put on all the stuff. And the crazy part, is that, we look like wrestlers.
Wrestlers.
Wrestlers. It looked like, I think it was Rock and Roll Express or something back in the Mid-South Wrestling.
Hey, man, I remember them days.
I know, but you know what I mean? Like the blonde hair, and we didn't even bother covering our beards. They were, tight pants.
The spandex.
It was ridiculous looking. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun to try and dress up and emulate the
80s, because the 80s was a great decade.
And plus, people probably came to the shows because there were a little bit of goof involved, but at the same time, we were taking it serious. We're like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and and it was a whole lot of fun. I ain't gonna lie, it was a lot of fun. So, but that's kind of how I run across. I got to go play some music that I actually enjoyed growing up.
Right, now that's awesome.
And Rusty was in a version of Big Hair Fair too. So
Rusty Gardner.
Rusty Gardner.
He was in a version of it.
Really, I didn't know that.
There's been a lot of versions of it. And just for reasons of people coming and going as they do.
Right, the way they do. Iterations is probably a better word than versions.
They move on to bigger and better things.
Bigger and better, jobs, whatever.
Family jobs, move,
I mean, there's a ton of reasons. And sorry, I had to get some more Truly.
You're fine.
You're truly going to be okay.
I'm going to be fine. So, but I was in that for a while, like 3 versions of that. So. Yeah.
And so then did you transition into Hairicane soon after that, or?
I don't know how soon it was, but Hairicane was kind of a thing that was not going to be full glam.
Right.
And I can remember initially it had a lot of the 70s on there, which we had not experienced or done, in the first version of Hairicane. And so, Tyler was our first bass player. And so he come over from No Lesser Beauty. So I'm still kind of doing the No Lesser Beauty stuff along with that.
That was some good stuff.
It was. And by the way,
let's put that band back together.
I've been after Jeremy to redo that album. Of course, he's so busy.
I'd give anything to re-record that.
Man, it was.
It would be great to record it here in the new studio.
Well, that's what I really want to do. I mean, Kevin had like magic fingers back then with whatever technology that he had then.
Right.
And it turned out really well. Turned out good. And so I would really love to have it redone now to see what we could do with it now.
Oh, it'd be so much better now.
I think it would. I mean, it would just be good to redo it again.
Yeah.
But Tyler's up in Memphis, and so I don't know how. I mean, he can get down here to do some stuff. But,
it's only a couple hours.
And what's crazy is I think that he actually gave up playing bass.
Oh.
God, no, I don't think he has a bass anymore.
Oh my gosh.
But that guy was really good.
Yeah, he was.
He had like a 6-string bass, and it still wasn't enough strings for him.
Right.
He was insane. He was just really good. So, but yeah, all that transition went into Hairicane, and even Jason Fairchild was the keyboard player for Big Hair Fair, and so I had approached him. I knew he could sing really well, and I was like, "You want to try it?" I remember the first time I called him, he was actually in England.
Wow!
I didn't know it, and I woke him up.
Oh no!
Jason was in England.
Yeah, well, he's got a job that kind of takes him all over the world. So,
I know he's in DC.
He's in DC right now working.
Probably he's back and forth, and so he was like, "Yeah, we can do that." So we put that band together, and at that particular time, Guns of Addiction was ending, which was the old Full Moon Circus. I don't know if you remember them.
I don't know Full Moon Circus.
They were actually
wasn't Chris Crawford in that?
Yes, he was the drummer.
Yeah, and Brian was
the
Jones?
singer, and Don was the guitarist, and they had like several bass players. I think Joey was one of the main ones, Joey Tannehill. And so now he's got Pop Fiction,
right?
So I mean, everybody kind of stays in music. There's
I think he's even helped Charlotte with Bad Charlotte as well.
Probably so. Yeah, I imagine so. But anyway, so I mean, there's a lot of time kind of going, through all that. And so when we brought Jason in, as Guns of Addiction was ending, Stevie Blaze called me one night and was like, "Are you going to the Electric Cowboy?" And I was like, "Nope, not going. I don't want to go. I just,
I know.
Stay home,
just stay at the house."
I think Stevie lived in Clinton at one time, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Was he in Clinton at this time?
No.
Okay. So
he was in
New Orleans or Metairie or wherever?
Metairie, I think.
Okay.
I think. Steve was married at this time. Yeah, because me and Buddy went to his wedding up in Louisville. Yeah, because him and Rob Hovey and Stevie's wife came up. And so I was like, why are you coming to Jackson?
Right.
And he was like, "We're going to watch Brian." And I was like, okay. I knew what was fixing to happen, They were looking at him to go into Lillian Acts.
Right.
But it was kind of an unspoken thing. And he was like, "Don't tell anybody." I was like, "I'm not," But so I went up there with them. And when that ended with Guns of Addiction, Brian basically said, Hairicane can have the gigs. And that was, it would have been great because some of the shows that they had already kind of done the groundwork to get in,
right,
is very difficult to get in.
Right.
It was a lot of the Florida stuff, and it's just kind of handed. Here it is. Go do it. Do a good job at it. But Jason's job had him, kind of occupied. And so I remember Brian saying something to me. He's like, "How are you ever going to get your band off the ground if you can't play the gigs?" And I was like, "I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea how I'm going to do it." And, so then we'd approached Jason. We were like, "Can we have a backup singer when you're not available?"
Right.
And all this sort of stuff. And then when you're not there, have them do, and not have two guys. It would just look funny.
Right.
Right. It just wouldn't look right. So we were like, okay, let's go with a female because there's probably not going to be any range issues. Because not everybody can do the 80s music. Right. And then when you're here, you'll be back at lead and then they'll do backup and hopefully everybody gets along and does great. And so we found Misty and we rolled with that for a little while. And then a few change outs happened here and there. And we're now exactly where we are just many, many years later. Right. We even had Sonny. Sonny did a few shows with us back, and Sonny Kane did a few shows with us back in the day.
That dude's a badass.
He is. He's a badass at everything. Yeah. He's a good singer, great singer, incredible guitar player. The guy can play keys. He can play drums. I mean, but he's really good. So we had him for a while, and I think Sonny's played for Badfinger before.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I think he has.
Wow.
I think he has. He's sang for Sledgehammer, right?
Right.
Okay. He did them.
He did Lillian Acts, didn't he?
Don't know that. But I don't know. I don't know that. But I know he's.
I'm thinking he did, but maybe I'm wrong.
He's been affiliated with Steve along the way. Yeah. But he's in New Orleans now. Yeah. And he's a full-time musician. And so with the rest of us being working folks, right. We can't just quit our jobs and go do that sort of thing. Right. It just doesn't work out, Right. So, so many transitions have come. Right. and here we are. You know what I mean?
Can you tell us, because I know people that are watching this that have been local and known y'all for years, they know, but there are some people that are just now finding out about Hairicane. Mm-hmm. So tell them some of the musicians that have been in that they know from around Mississippi.
Well, so like from Sonny's area, John Brister has been a drummer with us before. Kevin Russo has been a bass player with us before.
Those dudes are good too.
Yeah, they are. They're good. They're real good musicians. I mean, anything in that Sonny group, like John Brister is an incredible drummer, and he's a good performer. He's the first guy I played with that did a lot of stick tricks while he was playing,
right,
and could play with a click track and do it and never miss a beat.
Wow.
I was blown away. He's something else on the drums. He's a really good player, and he's down there in Macomb, and so they were in it. Like I said, Gary Albin was in it in the beginning. He was kind of I think he played keys some, but he was more like a tracking guy,
right?
And it was going to have to be that way if Jason wasn't going to be around, so we'd have to run some tracks. So we did that kind of in the beginning.
Now, you talking about Jason Bragg?
No, Jason Fairchild.
Okay.
And Jason is still in Hairicane, so
yeah, he's our keyboard player now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
that may be my ADHD going on.
No, it's
there's been lots of iterations of Hairicane too, though.
When we keep talking about Stevie, then I keep thinking Jason.
Right. Well,
Dewey.
Well, there was, during that time when No Lesser Beauty was going on with that album, we were throwing it out to a few people to see what would happen, and we threw it to Steve. Steve liked it, but, and we actually did get it on the radio some. And a crazy story was I was driving home one night, and I don't remember from where, but I do remember it was 11:45, and I just turned on the radio and Strip It Down was playing, but I didn't know that was us.
The recording that you did with me?
Yes.
Was playing on the radio.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that awesome?
It was. Well, what it was, there was one of the guys from Z106 that Jeremy knew, and he wanted to manage us. And I think he had that late shift thing going on.
Right.
To where nobody gave a damn about what you played.
He could get away with it.
Either he was going to do it and didn't care what the rules were or whatever. It
was back when radio was real too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You could bend the rules some for sure.
Right.
And I'm telling you, this was a crazy moment because I turned it on, and I'm not expecting it, but I'm hearing this music. I'm going, that sounds so familiar. And I was like, that solo sounds so familiar. And
why would you not recognize it right away, though? Was it turned down low?
No. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't turn the radio up blasting it when I get in the vehicle. I just kind of starting out, mildly or whatever.
Mildly.
And I'm like, what? So I turned it up a little bit, and I was like, oh my God, that's us. So, but yeah.
I'd been like, is my CD player engaged?
Do we have CDs? Yeah, I guess we had CDs then. Yeah,
we did have CDs.
Yeah, we had CDs.
Yeah.
Russ.
So anyway, so that happened, and so when we're talking about Stevie, I know that was the time frame because we had actually thrown that CD at him and was like, hey, what can you do with this? And he's like, well, we could do this and we could do this, and he was throwing out some ideas, and of course, Tyler and them were very young. They're 10 years younger than me. And so their prime focus was to probably either see what happened with it or go to school.
Right.
And get an education and then go do the family thing. And so that's kind of how that went down. So there's a whole lot of timelines crossing here.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess that happens when you're in multiple bands and all the musicians, they help each other out and all of that. So, and that's what I was saying was thinking about musicians that I know that have been in Hairicane and,
right. So when Tyler left, we ended up picking up Clay Pale, and I remember we had some tryouts, and I was like, Tyler, you're going to pick the guy. You pick him. And he come up, he's like, that guy's no doubt your guy. Go get him, Clay. And Clay's awesome bass player.
He is a great bass player.
He's awesome.
He is good.
And especially now, I mean, he's played with so many people and
still does.
Still does. Right. And he knows the phone book of songs. Him and Don Grant are like that. There's not a song they can't play.
Right.
You can just name it and they can play it. And so Clay was a bass player that we picked up, and it's just been a few people kind of coming and going for various reasons over the years, and a lot of times it's jobs, kind of getting in the way. And my job's been fairly steady. So my scheduling is easy.
Right.
But if somebody else changes a job and then their hours get messed up, or if you're kind of like Jason working for the government, the government, the branch that he works for, there's really not any way that you can say, I can only be this, or this. You're pretty much going to be kind of out doing, you're at their mercy.
And that's your main job. That's the bread. That's what brings home the bacon. So you got to do that.
That's right. And so we ended up. So there was a band called Jenny that I was going to join them, but they were in Kosciuszko. Now they were really, really good. They were mainly pop 80s music. Yeah. A guy named Mark Sims run that thing. And
I bet they played some Tommy Two-Tone, didn't they?
They did. I had to learn Tommy Two-Tone. Yeah, and it was just all pop. It was
that song came out when I was a junior in high school.
I met him. Me and Buddy met him at Club Fire one night.
The funniest thing about Jenny was when that song came out, I was in the 11th grade.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, and of course that's a long time ago.
That is a long time ago.
I was dating a girl named Jenny.
Oh, how convenient, Kevin.
Yeah, man, dude, I caught shit over that. I mean, we didn't stay together very long. That's another story for another day.
So
I'm the interrupter.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So no, we had through that band, it broke up, and Mark called me and he said, "Hey, I've got this." We already knew that Jordana was a really good singer. He's like, Jordana's singing, and we've got a keyboard player that's over the top good. And that was Elliot Williamson. Mm-hmm. And so we needed a singer and a keyboard player. And so we picked them up, and we went with that route for a long, long time. Right. And Elliot is unreal good on keyboard. He is one that he can play with anybody. In fact, we did a show at the Silver Star, and Brett Michaels was in the other room and his band. And so some of the band filtered in. Right. And of course everybody's like, get him on stage, let him play with y'all. And we did. And his keyboard player's good. Okay. But Elliot
blew him away.
He did. Elliot was over the top good. And so, Elliot stayed with us a really, really long time. And why he left is he basically picked up a job traveling around the United States doing something with, I think, Home Depots or something. I don't know, but he's in different states now. Right. And that was the time, Jason had kind of come back in at that point. And but yeah, it's kind of been a little bit of a revolving door. Yeah.
And the reason why I was asking is because I was wanting you to get to, because we want to mention Rob.
Yeah, Rob. Yes. Rob. Yes.
So okay. I just wanted to mention Rob.
Absolutely.
So I'm wearing my shirt, Warriors for Rob. Rob is needing our prayers, and I'm hearing some good reports, and we missed his benefit, but we just wanted to say that we want to be praying for Rob, and we love Rob. And what do you have to say?
Yep. So Rob came in originally as a guitar player. We pretty much had a 6-piece for the longest time. And part of the reasoning behind that was due to we liked the full sound, and at one point we got completely away from running tracks. It was all live, and so we could have 2 guitars, we could have the harmonies. It was just a really, really, really full sound, and also, we had I can't really remember exactly where Rob come in, but Sherilyn came in before Rob. She came in before Rob.
We love Sherilyn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she came in before Rob. And she pretty much is, to be honest, she's transitioned it. She's the perfect front and in my opinion, the greatest singer. She is in my opinion.
She is a great performer.
I'm biased.
No, we love Sherilyn.
Yeah, I know everybody does.
She's awesome. Yeah.
So, so she pretty much, come in, and I remember her saying, like, I don't know that I can do this. I'm like, what are you not knowing? And she's like, I can't sound like this person or that person. And I was like, you don't have to. Just
sound like yourself.
Just sound like you. Yeah. And just do it your way. And about 2 weeks in, it started really coming together, and I was like, "This is going to be good." And then and then sometime, and we made a ton of progress there. It just started getting better and better and better and better, and because we were getting more stable.
Right.
Her job's kind of like mine.
Right.
It's very, very clockwork, and so you can plan.
Right.
And so that helped out. And I think back then, Elliot pretty much used the band as his job, so he was pretty much clockwork, and so that was kind of when we started picking up casinos. And we were picking up those, and that is a whole nother animal.
Right.
It's not like the bar stuff.
No.
You have to behave.
Right.
You as quirky as the rules are, whatever they tell you, you pretty much better do it.
Right.
Or you won't be coming back. And so that's kind of where we went from there. And to get to where Rob is at, Rob and Sherilyn had worked together in a previous band called On the Edge, and it was a country band that I think Jim Bunch had put together. And it was pretty much the house band at Pops.
I gotcha.
I think. And I think they did that for a couple of years, very steady. And so it was pretty much a very easy transition to bring Rob in, because now Rob is super talented as well. He
very talented.
Plays, he plays the heck out of a bass, but he also plays guitar.
He plays guitar.
And he sings, and he also was the singer for Charade back in the day. Kevin,
right.
I know you remember them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so Rob had, when he went out to LA, he picked up a whole lot of experience there. And if I remember right, I think he played guitar for a really long time out there. Mm-hmm. And then but again, he jumped from instrument to instrument. He could pretty much just play whatever. And he would put the time in too, and really hone down what he needed to.
Right.
And he was a good singer, and he sang backup really good. And so when we did bring him in, I would say it went to kind of another level.
Another level, yeah.
Because you have the more vocals coming in.
And then he and Sherilyn had played together before, so they were so comfortable.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. And so kind of had that going on, and so, yeah, and it just kind of kept progressing and progressing and progressing. And, Rob ended up leaving to kind of go help Daryl.
Right.
Do some stuff. And because you can do a lot. And again, they do it full time.
Right.
We don't do it full time.
Right.
And so you can play a whole lot more acoustic gigs than you can 5-piece or 6-piece band gigs on the weekends.
Right.
And so that I'm sure helped with the income, for those guys. So, but yeah. In fact, talking about Rob, I talked to him the other day. We didn't make his benefit either, due to a breakdown Sherilyn had on her Jeep. And, but we were trying to, get her taken care of and get that Jeep back to, cause there was really no other way to get it back. And so, it was just a lot of mess that day, and we did not make it down there. But Rob's always in the prayers.
Yes.
And we love Rob.
Yep. And I did talk to him afterwards. I told him what had happened, and he was just like, "Man, don't worry about it." He goes, "I can't believe all that bad stuff happened that one day." And it's like, we were trying. We had contingency plan after contingency plan to get there, and and it just didn't work out.
But he was so positive.
He was positive. And so we talked about the situation he's in, and it looks like that what he's got going on is working good for him.
That's awesome.
It just, we talked probably an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Maybe an hour and 15. I don't know, but we talked. And of course, as we talked before, what me and him love to talk about.
Right.
The tinfoil hat stuff.
Right.
It immediately went into that. We were just like, what about this and what about that? I know.
Yeah.
And I won't stay on that long, because I know how that kind of thing goes.
Right.
But when we would go to Coshada Casino, I would just be like, is Rob riding with us? Yeah, he's riding with us. Okay. I was like, oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait for the stories, because it was just story after story after story. And so yeah, I may have had a smidge of a tinfoil hat before, but Rob gave me my official tinfoil hat, and I wear it proudly.
That's right.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He is a really good dude, and I've had a couple of experiences with the tinfoil hat stories. Yeah. So we've been going here for an hour and 4 minutes. So Kevin, is there anything that you want to say? Anything you want to interject?
No, not really. I think we probably should wrap this one up. But
okay.
We're going so well. We may have to just do another show.
Was it too serious? Because I was trying to be serious.
No, it wasn't too serious. It was great. And there was not a lot of dead time. So here we are. I don't know if this is going to get edited out or not. This discussion.
That part will get edited out.
Okay.
But there are no fart noises.
So, Russ, tell everybody, do y'all have a website? Do you just have a Facebook page? Or where can people find Hairicane?
Just basically the Facebook page, because Facebook's what everybody's pretty much using anyway. And, everybody's on Facebook. They're just tooling around on there. And it's kind of easy just to get to everybody. And when you have multiple things to go to, it's kind of a pain in the neck to go advertising here, advertising there. Pretty much just type in Hairicane on Facebook and you can find us, and that's Hairicane.
All caps.
It can be all caps. It's going to pull it up regardless.
I was going to ask if you could spell that really fast.
I cannot, especially after a bunch of Trulies.
I think I have a tendency to still call y'all Hairicane.
Oh man, look,
it's habit. I know.
We play this thing down. It was Sandy Hook Biker Rally, and it's not the Sandy Hook that you're immediately going to think of. Okay? But it was
conspiracy.
But it was in Tylertown, Mississippi. So real quick there was a bunch of people there, probably 3,000. It was a sea of people. And when we'd go down in the crowd, they were like, Hairicane! We love Hairicane! Hairicane! Yeah, and that's why I changed out all the stuff. I was like, don't write me a check with Hairicane on it because you're going to misspell it. And don't write Hairicane on there. I'll be chasing money down for 2 weeks trying to get another check written. This is a pain in the ass. So,
well, before we go, I've got a couple of questions for you. Okay. I want you to think hard and long on this.
That's what she said.
That's who said that?
That's what she said.
You got it. Okay. Here's a couple of good ones for you. All right. Eddie Van Halen or Randy Rhoads?
Ooh. Randy Rhoads. I'm sorry. I know you're probably throwing knives at me, but no, Randy Rhoads.
Okay.
And I like Eddie Van Halen for sure, but no, Randy Rhoads. Dude,
Is there a reason why?
There is.
Okay.
Because I am a guitar player and I try to be better. And Randy, not that Eddie Van Halen had any amp help, he may not have, but I know Randy Rhoads did not. He come along so early that pretty much that was just probably raw amp you were hearing, and he was classically trained, and he just was really, I don't know, he was just, in my opinion, crazy good and never even got to reach his potential,
right?
Due to the plane crash, because there's no telling what that guy would have done.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Thinking, could you imagine? How old was he? He was what, 20?
He was a kid.
Yeah, he was basically a kid.
Yeah, and he was I don't know, that's my reason there. But no, I'm constantly trying to mimic Eddie Van Halen as well, and I can't do that either. So
okay,
but they're both wonderful, but I prefer Randy Rhoads.
Okay. All right. Next question.
We got another one. All right. Joe Bonamassa or Eric Clapton.
Yeah. Seriously?
I know this one. Yeah.
Probably Bonamassa.
Okay. Probably. That actually surprises me. I expected you to go, Bonamassa.
Yeah. That's not my style. None of that's my style.
That bluesy, yeah.
Mm-mm. But
Bonamassa can rip though.
Yeah, he can rip, and he's definitely more on the what I would listen to if I was gonna go that route. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I'm not really into that. I'm more into the harder stuff.
Okay. All right. George Lynch or Warren DeMartini?
Oh man, why, dude? I can't choose between those. I cannot.
It's a draw. He can't choose
on that one.
A draw. That's fair.
It is 100% a draw on that one. Both of those guys are, to me, are very good.
Yeah.
I can't choose between those.
That's fair. Okay. Before we go, give us your top 5 guitar players.
Oh God. Top 5.
Top 5.
Oh my God. On the spot.
Yeah. And these have to be in order from 5 to 1.
I don't know that I can do that, Kevin.
Okay.
John Petrucci probably, just because of the technicality.
Absolutely.
On number 1.
He's number 1 or 5.
Well, he's the one that I would say can play anything you throw at him. So
I love John Petrucci. He's sort of like a modern day David Gilmour to me.
Yeah.
Very melodic, but extremely technical.
Okay. So when I say him, that would be like my number 1 is being the best. So however, you're saying number 5 is the best?
Yeah, I was just thinking go backwards.
Okay, so 5, I'd say Petrucci being 5 being the best.
Oh, okay.
And then, man, I like Vinnie Moore, and I know he's not mentioned much anymore.
I haven't heard that name in a long time, but now that you mention him, I had a VHS instructional video
from
him.
Yeah, he's
back in the, I guess, either late 80s or early 90s. And I was like instructional on my ass. It's like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, he's he was really good. I mean, so and it's hard to rank those guys because I mean they're all just crazy good. But it slipped my mind. The guy from Racer X, what's his name?
Paul Gilbert.
Oh yeah.
Paul Gilbert.
Yeah. Paul Gilbert. He's
long finger.
Yeah, he's insane. He's really good. And
that's 3.
That's 3. God, y'all are putting me on the spot. I don't know. Reb Beach for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I can do a 5th one. I don't know.
Oh man, there's thousands of them.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
We can't leave until you come up with this.
Just one good more guitarist.
Randy Rhoads. I mean,
yeah, I was wondering if he was going to say it.
Yeah, Randy Rhoads. I mean, like I said, if he would have lived long enough,
right?
There's no telling what you would have heard out of him because I mean,
right.
He did a little bit of the tapping stuff, I think, but he never really got into it. And of course, Andy Van Halen kind of took that and did the next level of that. And at Reb Beach he's insane with it. And so it just kind of goes on. And like I said, Petrucci does everything.
Yeah. And I think another one, not necessarily for you, but another one you need to throw in there when the tapping comes in is the guys from Night Ranger.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit.
Was his name Simmons or something like that? Because
I mean, he was doing the 4-finger, the 4-finger tapping.
I think was he not using both hands on You Can Still Rock in America?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think he was doing playing it like a piano. I don't know. I'll have to go look and see.
Yeah. It was insanity.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that guy probably showed out here and there, but his skill level was way up there. And that's why I can't go choosing people.
Right.
Because if you sat down in a room with them, they might, I'll give you an example before we go. So, Greg Bissonette.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I had no idea he could play drums that good until I went to a David Lee Roth concert. And that guy was crazy good. But he never showed out on that Eat 'Em and Smile album.
Right.
He never showed out. At least to me, he didn't.
He knew his place, you know.
But live, he was.
That was the Dave show.
Yeah, it was. He was really good. So that's my kind of things. You don't really know until you sit down face to face with somebody and kind of see what they can do. But what they're presenting to me, I guess that would kind of be where I'm at on those. But I may change my mind as soon as I walk out the door,
Right.
There's a bunch of people that are really good.
Well, that's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, look, it's been great having you, Russ, man.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
You're gonna. I think we're gonna make you like a guest or a co-host, not a
Going to
guest.
be a co-host with us. No longer.
This was actually an audition.
This is an audition.
We didn't give a shit.
Did I earn
what
my
you
spot?
had to say
Yeah.
about Hairicane?
Okay.
Yeah, we really didn't give a shit.
This is just an audition. But I think we're going to put this out there.
You're no longer a guest. Now
I think we're going to make you a co-host.
You're the co-host.
Am I on the payroll?
Yeah, the little bit of
well, once the payroll starts,
I'm just messing with you.
and that makes me remember we do have to mention our sponsor, and that's kevinsdebitcard.com.
Right.
Kevin's debit.
and you can be in the same position I am, what you need to do is go to yourdebitcard.com.
His debit card is
for
all of this wonderful
needs,
equipment.
For all your financial needs. They will take care of you. Promise. Look it up. Google it.
Google it.
Gargle it.
All right. Kathy, say good night.
Good night.
Russ?
Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you like and share our content and leave a comment. It helps the algorithm.
Yeah, please subscribe. It's
Please
really
subscribe,
important.
y'all.
It's free. We promise
it's free. You just press the button. That's it.
Russ?
All right, Russ. Say good night.
Take us out.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank y'all.
In harmony. 2, 3, 4. Good night.
That wasn't harmony.
It was not harmony.
It was not harmony.
That was kind of a off-kilter
Too many
unison.
Trulies. That was truly off.
Beam and truly.
Thank y'all.
Thanks. See y'all.